Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for clicking on another video. Listen, if you guys are interested in how I made this super quick, super cheap, and delicious baked smothered chicken recipe, then stay tuned. This is a part of a 3-part series that I'm doing just using one bag of chicken that costs $10. Be sure to stay tuned to the end so I can show you some tips and tricks on how I buy my chicken. So here is my chicken. Remember, if you watch the other video, I have split the chicken into 4 parts. And all I'm going to do, because my chicken was already clean, is add some complete seasoning. All the measurements will be in the video. And yeah, you know I love complete seasoning. To that, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of soy sauce. You can add more or less depending on if you have low sodium, regular sodium, whatever you like. To that, I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce. I never know how to say that, but you know what I mean. This gives it a really robust flavor. When you're using simple ingredients, you want to use ingredients that matter. So to that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. You can go heavy or however you want to with this, but I'm just giving you basics of what I use. To that, I also added 2 teaspoons of onion powder. And to this, I'm going to add some Cajun seasoning. I'm just showing you what I prefer. I actually like Tony Chachere's. I can't remember how to say that. I actually like that Cajun seasoning, but you can use whatever you have. If you have just regular Lowry's, you can use that. To this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. You can add more or less. To this, I'm going to add some garlic. I have garlic paste here. If you have fresh garlic, you can use that. If you have the chopped garlic in the glass, you can use that. Whatever you have is what you want to use. No need to go out and buy anything extra. Here, you can add more or less dry seasonings if you want to, but this is what I'm sticking with. Here, I'm showing you the 2 options I use, and don't mind the fact that my bottles are a little dirty. I actually use my stuff, but I like to use browning, but you can also use that Gravy Master. I just find that the browning adds a little bit of a flavor to it. I don't know how to explain it, but you do not want to add too much of this browning if you choose to use the browning because it will leave your meat bitter. So I used a little much here, but that's okay because I'm going to use more water later on in the video. Yeah, so from there, you just want to go ahead and roll around your meat. Yes, my hands are clean. Everything's clean. And I'm cooking for my family, so they're used to my hands. So yeah, you just want to make sure that everything's coated. And then you can just sit this in the refrigerator. You can do this in the morning, sit it in the refrigerator, and come back and touch it later on in the evening. But here, I'm just mixing everything around. I want to make sure everything is coated. That browning is a cheat way of getting some color on your chicken. When you're making smothered chicken, you want to have a little color, a little bit of color. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's it. So here I have my cast iron skillet, and to that I'm going to add some oil. Now, how much oil you add is up to you. We're not going to cook the chicken. All we're going to do is brown the chicken. The whole purpose of this whole thing is to make sure that you have color. And color, let me tell you, when you got a little color to your food, it just makes everything taste better. And at the same time, I do feel that when you brown your meats, especially when they've been pre-seasoned, they just come out so much better. They taste better. You know, it adds a little bit of char to it, if that makes sense. But yeah, so when you add your chicken, you're going to be careful not to add the excess seasoning that's on the chicken. Whatever's fall to the, Lord, I can't talk. Whatever has fallen to the bottom of your glass container or whatever you use to season your meat, let it stay there because we're going to use that later on. So yeah, we're just watching my pot get hot. This is actually in real time. Just this part, y'all, just this part. I'm going to speed it up a little bit later on. But there, I'm just showing you my chicken that I took out the refrigerator. And I'm going to add the pieces of chicken here. And let me tell you, some cast iron skillets are everything. And you're going to see where I made a mistake a little bit later on because me trying to be fancy for the video, I decided I was going to use a glass baking dish. Well, honey, all you had to do was a 1 pot. This can be just a 1 pot. So here I have my chicken and I'm just browning it. This does not take a lot of time. I like to use high heat when I'm doing this because I like to hurry up and be finished. So I'm just going to go ahead and let my chicken sit and get nice and brown. Now, what I will tell you is if you decided that you want to make more chicken, you can do that. You can actually crowd the pan. I know people tell you not to crowd the pan, but we're not actually cooking the chicken all the way through. the oven is where you're going to get around there, right? You're going to make sure that your chicken is fully cooked when you put it in the oven. One thing on my channel that I like to share is I like to share ways that you can kind of leave it and forget it. This part is the part that you don't want to leave it and forget it. You want to actually go and check on your meat. You want to go back and forth to make sure that, nothing's burning, nothing's sticking to the bottom of the pan. And you actually you don't need a lot of oil if you got a good cast iron. Just know that. So yeah, I'm just letting my chicken brown, and I'm going to actually let this play in real time. You can speed up the video if you want to. But I'm just showing you that I don't take a lot of time in cooking my meals when it comes to after work. After a long day, you don't want to spend 2 to 3 hours inside the kitchen. I like to make it quick. I like to make it simple. And one way that you can do that even more efficiently is to season your meats as you get them from the grocery store. Go ahead and clean your meats. If you don't clean your meat, that's your business, but I clean mine. Clean your meats, and once you clean your meats, then you want to go ahead and separate them out, and you want to go ahead and season them. You can do barbecue chicken, you can do smothered chicken, you can do fried chicken, you can do whatever. Chicken is one of those meats that you can just do different things with, especially if you have the dark meat portion of the chicken. You have a little more flexibility because it doesn't dry out as much as a chicken breast. So as you can see, I flipped over my chicken. This was in real time. You see how quick that cooked? And I think it's important to just show you that portion in real time. So here is that seasoning that I was telling you about. And all I did was add a cup of water to that seasoning because I'm going to need that to make my gravy, right? We're going to use up everything we have. And I'm just showing you what it looks like. Actually, I added another cup of water. Look at me not knowing what I'm doing. So to that, I actually added 2 cups of water because I think I remembered while I was cooking that I was going to add a gravy mix to that water. Now, you do not have to use a gravy mix. If you have some cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, or any of those type of things in your shelf, you can use that. Sometimes I mix the cream of chicken or the cream of whatever with the chicken gravy packet or brown gravy packet. Whatever you have in your shelf is fine. Or even cheaper way, y'all. Tell y'all the tips and tricks while we're watching this chicken cook. What you can do is you can add some flour to this mix right here, or even some cornstarch, but you want to make sure that water is cold. And you can just whisk it. So if you don't have this, not to fret, you just want to make sure that this water is seasoned, but you don't want to taste it because you don't want salmonella. So here I'm just whisking the gravy packet. And as you can see, this is a gravy packet that I probably used a little bit out of earlier, and I just had it in the shelf. And I just brought it back and used whatever it was that I had. No big deal. We not fancy on this channel. We just trying to get it done. Now, see y'all, look, trying to be YouTube friendly. I brought out the big glass, what you call this, a glass glass pan, and I decided to dirty up more dishes than I needed to. Listen, y'all, don't do this. Don't be like me. Don't do this. If you watch my other channel, you know I'm used to cooking for a large family. I'm used to cooking larger portions, so I always do this. This is just force of habit. And then as I was putting it, I'm like, really, look how sparse that look. Look how sparse that look. And I had to put the gravy back in the pan anyway to make sure that, it got all the little remnants out of the pan, because that's what the good stuff is, y'all. That's what the good stuff is. They call that, drippings? Whatever they call it, that's what the good stuff is. So all I had to do is kind of scrape my pan a little bit very lightly because I don't want to disturb the bottom of my cast iron. If you have a good seasoned cast iron, do not jack up your cast iron like I like to do, but I can reseason it, so it's okay. Anywho, me being fancy, look at what I'm going to do. It's just a mess, y'all. Don't be like me. What I should have done is put the chicken with the gravy, but instead I put y'all, just watch. I'm a realize that, you know what, do better. So to this, I'm just going to add some onions. If you have frozen onions, you can use frozen onions. Whatever you have, you can add. If you have fresh garlic, you can add that. If you have vegetables like potatoes, mushrooms, I don't know, whatever you have in your fridge, freezer, anything you need to get rid of, you can go ahead and add it here. You can add whatever vegetables you want to here. But like I said, I'm quick. My family is very simple. We don't need a lot. So I'm just adding onion to this, and I prefer just onions. So as I'm looking, I'm like, you know what? Not, girl, why did you do this? Get that pan back. And this actually makes more sense. And if I'm being honest, I prefer to make my food in the cast iron skillet because the cast iron skillet can go right inside the oven. And I don't know what it is about the cast iron skillet. I just feel like it makes everything taste so much better. So I came to my senses and I'm like, listen, YouTube, I'm going to be for real with y'all. This just makes more sense to me. Like, I really did not have to dirty up this glass, whatever this glass thing is called. I did not have to dirty this up in order to prove a point to you guys. The whole point of my channel is to make it simple, quick, and easy. So I could have saved 10 minutes right here. Really could have. So as you can see, I'm not speeding up the video too much because I do want you to see kind of how I prepare my meals. This right here may have taken me about 45 minutes to an hour only because I kept the chicken in the oven a little bit longer and ran off and did something else. So I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil. If you have a cover, you can go ahead and use your cover, but I don't have a cover to my cast irons. And I'm going to put it in the oven at 420 for about 30 minutes, and I'm going to let it cook down. And this is what it should look like. Now, if you want to leave it in the oven a little bit longer, you can do that. But I was like, listen, 30 minutes is good because what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this chicken over. Yes, ma'am. See, I'm going to flip the chicken over and I'm going to put it back in the oven uncovered, right? And that's just to kind of dry out that gravy a little bit. And at the same time, to add a little more color and texture to the chicken. Right? Because we want it to be delicious. So here it is. They look a little dry, but it's all right. Because remember, we're using dark meat and that dark meat does not dry out. So to that, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Listen, I'm just chattering at this time. If y'all know me, y'all know I like to make videos after work. So sometimes I just like to talk to the people, right? So anyway, this is what my chicken looks like. And you can flip it over, inside the pan if you're going to, I guess, show it to your family. I don't know why you want to flip it over, but I'm not going to do all that. All I'm going to do is I have some rice off to the side. I always make rice in a rice cooker off to the side because it allows me to just kind of walk away. And I'm just going to plate this real simple like and show you guys a plate that I made for one of my kids. Nothing too fancy, nothing extra. You can either add rice to this. You can add vegetables to this. You can do this with broccoli. You can do this with baked potato. You can do it with mashed potatoes. This is definitely one of those meals that you have a little more flexibility with. This is one of my go-to meals because it's super good. And if you make enough of it, you can always make leftovers. It's even better the next day. So here I'm just plating out the rice and I'm going to add, I think I add broccoli or something like that to this. But really, if I'm being honest, I'm not a big veggie eater when it comes to smothered chicken. I like to have my smothered chicken just with the rice. But you can use, grits or whatever it is that you prefer. Honestly, because my channel is about saving money, I prefer to go to the cheapest route, which is using rice, using grits, using whatever you have in your shelf. If you have potatoes, you can make mashed potatoes from scratch. I'm real basic. I don't have a lot of time to sit there and mash actual potatoes. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy the box potatoes and use that instead. But yeah, what do you guys do for smothered chicken? To me, I love this recipe because it's super quick. The gravy comes out real thick. And this is me trying to get YouTube ready. What I told you, I'm put all the clips in here. I'm not going to edit this voiceover. I'm not going to edit. Listen, I'm not going to edit anything else in this video. I'm here to share with you guys, right? So I decided, I guess, to put corn. I thought I had broccoli, but it's corn. You can use whatever you want to. And really, if I'm being honest, like I said, with me putting the veggies in the video, it's honestly just to show you a full meal. Is this how I would eat it? No. But do my kids love corn? Yes. And will they eat it? Absolutely. But me personally, give me the chicken and the rice and let me be. And yes, I use my fingers to adjust the corn, but guess what? It's all right. My kids love it. But yeah, how else will you enhance this meal? Because we're saving money, I'm showing you the very basic way to make sure that this meal is a delicious meal for you and your family. What else would you have done? Or what do you do to your smothered chicken? I know a lot of people like to make it on the stove, but like I said, my whole point is to set it and forget it. So I wanted to make sure I shared this recipe with you guys. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for joining the channel, running up my numbers. And I'm just showing you what the chicken looked like because I forgot to get a good little, picture of what it looked like when you put gravy on it and it's not so dry. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys. And as always, thank you for watching the channel. And until the next video, guys, bye.